Hey everybody, John Mark here. Welcome to Mark My Words. A very important video today about a simple concept, rebranding the alt-right. How we should rebrand what some people call the alt-right, some people call it the hard right, whatever you want to call that segment of the right. I'm just going to use alt-right for shorthand right now. We have a prime opportunity right now to rebrand ourselves in order to reach more people on the right wing and bring them over to us, which is important because we're the only ones who know how to win. So briefly, before I get into it, let me just define specifically what I mean when I say alt-right or any of these other terms you want to use, new right, hard right. I define alt-right broadly as the segment of the right wing that understands the scientific reality that women on average are very different than men in many different ways, and the scientific reality that the different races of the world have different average IQs, in other words, different size genetic underclasses. The alt-right is basically scientific gender realism and scientific race realism. It's the segment of the right that does not share the underlying assumption with the left that all people groups are equal, and thus it's the segment of the right that is generally opposed to all third world immigration, not just illegal immigration. It's the segment of the right wing that is to the right of civic nationalists. You talk to most civic nationalists, they say they believe that all groups are equal, they celebrate legal immigration, they don't want illegal immigration, but they're okay with legal immigration because they don't understand that it is suicide for the right wing politically, because most immigrants today obviously are non-white and most non-whites vote left, and that is not going to change. So civic nationalists are suicidal politically. The people to the right of the civic nationalists, what you might call the alt-right, are not suicidal politically. This group that is to the right of civic nationalists was previously known as the alt-right. Today I'm telling you that we need to rebrand this segment of the right wing. The new branding for the alt-right needs to be the winning right. The winning right. Because this is the only segment of the right wing that knows how to defeat the left. It's the segment of the right wing that understands that we, as Western civilization and as white people of Western European descent, cannot survive being flooded by more and more millions of non-white people. The problem with everyone else on the right wing is that they share the underlying assumption with the left that all people groups are equal. And that gives the left the moral authority to force millions of third world immigrants on white people. Those millions of immigrants, most of them are going to vote left wing. So everybody else on the right wing is the losing right. They are playing on the enemy's team without realizing it. Now, why am I coming out with this video right now? Because this is a tremendous opportunity for those of us on the winning right to bring millions of people from the civic nationalist right over to the winning right. Why is this the hot moment? Why is this the opportunity? Because right now, starting with the 2018 midterms, which are just in the rearview mirror as of the time of this recording, in the 2018 midterms, the right wing started to realize, wow, we're not going to be able to just overwhelm the left with our MAGA enthusiasm and helping people understand that Donald Trump is good for the economy. Right-wing people are starting to wake up en masse now to the fact that the left and non-white people, they don't care if Donald Trump gives them jobs. They don't care about anything but what I explained in my previous two videos on this, called Why the Left Never Learns. And so what's going to happen is the right wing is going to start losing elections, and it's going to become more and more obvious to everyone on the right wing that we can never win any more elections in the United States of America again because of third world legal immigration. People are waking up to this fact, and this is a tremendous opportunity for those of us on the winning right to catch them in our net. We've been saying this stuff for years. They are finally catching up because reality is finally slapping them in the face. For example, my wife reads a blog called theconservativetreehouse.com. It's a boomer civic nationalist blog. They celebrate legal immigration into the United States. After the midterms, my wife said that there were many, many commenters on this site that were saying things that they had never said before. What were they saying? They were saying, the non-white people did this to us. The non-white people caused us to lose this election. They're waking up, folks. See, I could have told you beforehand, this moment would come. Now, I don't know, maybe the right wing can win in 2020. Maybe Donald Trump can win in 2020. But Ann Coulter tweeted the other day that if the same exact election were held today as was held in 2016, Hillary Clinton would win just because of non-white people turning 18 in the United States. Non-white immigration is killing the right wing politically. Boomer civic nationalists are waking up to this. If they're waking up, this is a huge opportunity. If they can see the writing on the wall, anybody can see the writing on the wall. And I'm not trying to slam boomer civic nationalists here. They really want to be on the right team, but they just don't know how to be on the right team yet. See, it's very hard if you're an older person in the United States of America to realize just how bad it's gotten in America and just how fast it's gotten that bad. It's like, whoa, what happened? So it's hard for these civic nationalist boomers and many other white people. Listen, most white people don't want to be racist. Most white people really want non-white people to succeed. So really the sin of the civic nationalist boomers is just being too nice. But the problem is it's a fatal sin. We can't afford to have failing strategies anymore. We can't afford to believe lies like all people are equal and believe lies like we're going to be able to teach all these non-white people to be like us and believe things that cause us to enact failed strategies. We can't afford to do that anymore. So what I'm telling you is when you go out there and you do your communication with other right-wingers and you're memeing and whatever else you do, tell them, come over to the winning right. And if they try to smear you with, oh, you're this, you're that, you're a white supremacist, you're a racist, blah, 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 say, I am part of the winning right. You are part of the losing right. How do you plan to solve the problem that most immigrants are non-whites and most non-whites vote left? How do you plan to solve that problem? You're going to try to teach them? You can't. Here's the data. If you're tired of losing, join the winning right. The other branding we can give ourselves is we are the scientific right. We are scientific about humanity, about human nature, about IQ, about personality differences, about instinct and intuition that causes people to lean certain ways politically. We are scientific about this. Quote the average IQs of the different races, and if they deny it, say you are a science denier. We are the scientific right, and we are the winning right. That is our branding. And if somebody calls you the alt-right, say, yeah, we're the alternative all-right, the alternative to losing. See, the power of calling ourselves the winning right is that it uses a well-known marketing principle, which is if you're trying to sell a product, you don't sell what it actually does on a day-to-day basis. You sell the end result for the customer. So an airline does not go out and advertise the experience of sitting in a cramped airplane seat for 4 hours. They don't advertise that. They ignore that. What they advertise is the beautiful beach when you arrive at your destination. They say, we'll get you to this beautiful beach. And so we, as the winning right, what we're advertising is we will lead you to victory. All you have to do is abandon your failed strategies and the nice-sounding lies that you bought into. So we advertise the end result, which is winning. The way we win is we separate from these people. We offer it to them peacefully. They're probably not going to take it, which means there's going to be a war. The right wing by far has the greatest chance of winning, which I will explain to you in future videos. And at the end of that, we're going to get to make some choices. And we're going to set up our government so that our descendants never have to fight this battle again. And we are not going to allow leftism to get its foot in the door ever again. Because we know how to do that now. Just tell them, come join the winning right. Realize that the solution is not to try to educate people who do not want to be educated and who do not have any incentive to be educated, who are just acting on instinct. Accept that most of these people do not have high IQs, and they just accept whatever sounds good. And I don't mean that as an insult, that's just a scientific fact. Accept that we cannot live with these people. Accept that they're going to start winning every election in the United States of America starting very, very soon. We may have won our last election with Donald Trump. That might have been the last one that the right wing ever wins in America, just because of non-white immigration. Hit them with that and say, join the winning right. We know how to win. We separate and we set up leftism-proof government that completes the Founding Fathers' project. It completes what they were trying to do with more information now about how the left operates, and I'm going to be explaining more about that as well. It's called propertarianism. And I'll tell you this too, we already have enough people in the United States of America on the winning right to do what needs to be done. Do we actually on the winning right need that many more numbers? Probably not, truth be told. But I'll take all the numbers I can get. And let me tell you why else this is very, very important. Because after the right wing wins a civil war, which is the most likely outcome, we are going to need to set up a new government or governments. We need to have our reasoning intact as to why we have to have at least one white supermajority nation. It doesn't have to be pure 100% white, but it does have to be uncontested supermajority white people. And when it comes to that, we want as little resistance from the people on the right wing as possible. We can't have civic nationalist cucks going around saying, well, we don't want to be racist and we got to let non-white people in by the millions. We can't have them saying that. So what we're doing right now is we're laying the groundwork for after we win the Civil War to do what we have to do without ignorant people on the right wing getting in our way. That's why we spend time on this. That's why we meme the heck out of them. By the way, one of the most powerful memes we can use for this purpose to move people from the losing right to the winning right is simply to point out to them that whites are on their way to becoming a minority. That is scientifically demonstrated to scare the crap out of white people. Let's use it. Let's just make our team as big as possible and reduce as much resistance as possible for us to do what we need to do after the Civil War. And I realize I'm kind of skipping ahead like a really big step, which is winning the Civil War. I'm going to be doing videos on that. But we have to have an end vision. We have to have an end game in mind. It's the old Stephen Covey quote, begin with the end in mind. People need a vision. People need to know what they're putting their hope in, what they're working for, what they're striving for. If they don't know what they're fighting for, if they don't think there's light at the end of the tunnel, why would they fight? Well, a lot of them would just fight to not be ruled by totalitarian leftists, but let's give them a realistic vision. This is realistic. The most statistically likely outcome is that there's going to be a civil war and the right wing is going to win it. Let's be ready. Let's have a vision in hand. Kurt Doolittle is writing a constitution for this purpose. I'm not just trying to generate hope just to have a feeling of hope. I'm telling you, this is not just possible, but highly likely. The right wing is in the driver's seat, my friends. It doesn't seem like it many times because the left has so many of the institutions, but the right wing has all of the advantages in a civil war scenario. That's what you have to understand. So let's give people a vision even beyond that so we know what our end goal is and so we know we're prepared. When we win a civil war, we know what we're going to do and we know how to avoid the problems that we faced in the past. Let's provide people a vision. We are the winning right. We know what we're aiming for. We know how we're going to get there. And we are the scientific right. We're going to set up a scientific government based on a scientific understanding of humanity, a scientific understanding of what the left has done in the past to try to eat away at the foundations of Western civilization. We know how to avoid that now. That is our vision. Leftism-proof government, that's where we're headed. We are the winning right. Subscribe to my channel for more. My next videos are going to be primers for learning about leftism-proof government, in other words, propertarianism, And after 2 primer videos that explain concepts that are very important to understand as a setup for understanding propertarianism, then we're going to get into propertarianism, and I'm going to explain to you the basics of propertarianism, and you're going to understand how it is possible to have a leftism-proof, corruption-proof government. It's absolutely fascinating. Subscribe to my channel for more. Until next time. How much longer do we want to play trench warfare with the left? How many more times are we going to have to fight this battle? You know what my answer is? 0. 0 more times. This is going to be the last time. And if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will.